believe and I see that Gen Z gets a lot of criticism on that they're lazy and they're not ambitious enough. But
Bunch of pussies,
yeah,
basically.
yeah, as I was preparing for the podcast, I actually changed my mind a little bit. Well, not a little bit. I changed my mind probably like 60% because I've noticed that a lot of Gen Z people, they really um, prioritize their interests and hobbies instead of
And
choosing
health.
the modern way of getting into career and this and climbing the corporate ladder. Let's just say that. And I was like, well, that's it. That's very successful way of thinking because you actually choose what you like and you're trying to find your purpose. So I really, really changed my mind about it. And while I still think that a lot of Gen Z people are lazy, regardless if they have interests, I do believe that this way of thinking is what it should be.
It's interesting you say that, because I read somewhere that there's more Gen Z drinking less as well,
Exactly.
going out
Yeah.
less.
Yeah.
Because I remember, if I look at the generation before me and my generation, it's still very much geared towards like going out, getting
Yeah.
pissed, having a mad night out, going to festival, all the rest of it. And I think those are all really cool things. Like, festivals are really fun. I think going out and being social with your friends is really important and really key. But it's not so much like I don't think Gen Z now view it as that. I think there's a bit more prioritization around, I want to look after myself.
Yeah.
I want to go to the gym. Like, there are far more younger people in the gym than like my parents' generation.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
And I don't think age is. I think you can still be old and go to a gym.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I think there's a lot to be said for that. In that, maybe it's because there's more resources online and that you're trying to cultivate a happier life, and that's just what it is. Or is it just this shift where there isn't this need to like get fucked up, and that maybe that's not as cool as it was?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's an interesting one that doesn't seem to be so much the goal or the interest or the hobby that is cool.
Yeah.
I think people are more sort of steered towards, what are you into, man? Like, if it's something around like our personal hobbies, or other people, like some people being like, whatever it is that you're interested in that isn't so much towards that. It's like, oh, that's actually really interesting. Why are you interested in that? Oh, that. It's like kind of allows you to open the door into who they are as people.
Yeah, they're just again connecting on a spiritual level, right? Like,
yeah.
If you are immersed into something, and I guess it comes down to, I've looked at a couple of interests, the most popular Gen Z interest, or one of them was photography.
That's interesting.
That's very interesting because very interesting, but at the same time, I feel it's very common when I thought about it, because
Instagram,
everyone's got cameras, everyone's got iPhones, and but then the other two really surprised me. So it was meditation and knitting.
Okay.
And knitting was something when I was growing up. Knitting became
something you do when you're old.
Yes, and if you do it when you're young, like something is wrong with you in a way. Especially in Lithuania, right? Like you have a hobby that everyone has. You don't choose your own hobby. So yeah, it really, really surprised me that they don't really go like Gen Z people, especially generation. They don't really go by the flow in a way. They just try to think what's best for them, and that way they cultivate their interest around it.
Yeah, and I think that's a healthy way to look at it. It's like not following the crowd so much. It's like, actually, what are you interested in? What do you want to achieve? What do you want to do? I don't think there's, like, following the crowd. Because remember, it was that thing that we said, you'll go further in the things that you actually enjoy. And if you really do enjoy them, and it also it also becomes one of those things where it's like, how good can I get at this? And then when you start breaking those barriers, it's like, how far can I actually go with it?
Yeah.
How far can I take this?
Maybe I can. The person who enjoys the walk is always going to
walk further.
than the person who loves the destination. And I guess it's just, when I look at this podcast, I love doing it. And if the person who's not, if there is a person who's doing it for the clout or for the status, it's going to be really hard to compete with the person who's just doing it whenever he's got time, because he's not really thinking about the goal, because there's no goal. Like, the only goal is to do 52 podcasts this year. That's it. I don't really mind about subscribers or likes or views or whatever. So when you look from that perspective, is a completely different. And going back to the music, how could I compete against someone who loves music so much that every time he's got a moment, he's playing, he's writing music, he's listening to something, he's getting better. And I was thinking to compete while I was just playing 30 minutes a day. It just doesn't make sense. So